Welcome to Author Advantage Live. Please help me welcome to the stage your MC, Jimmy Nelson.
Good morning, Author Advantage. Hello, everybody. How are you? Good morning, good morning, good morning. If you can see me, if everything's working, I want to see some waves. I want to see you up. Oh, Karen Elizabeth Iverson is ready to go. Carolyn Jenkins is ready to go. Kim Vickers is ready to go. Karen Cords is up and dancing. Oh my gosh. Virginia Hannah, how are you? Thumbs up to you as well. Good morning. I'm so excited to be here. You guys obviously look like you are ready to go. Hey, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, but I want to know a little bit about you first. In the chat, let me know where you're plugging in from. We got Victor from South Carolina. See, good morning. Good morning, Trina Gray from Georgia. Good morning from Miami, Texas. See, I live in Texas. I didn't know there was a Miami, Texas. Carmel, Indiana, Denver, Colorado, holy smokes, Maryland, Georgia, California, Winston-Salem, Michigan, Pittsburgh, Northern California, London, England. Mark, you win so far. Alaska, Barcelona. Well, we have an international audience here. Hey, if I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, let me introduce myself. My name is Jimmy Hayes Nelson. Most people just call me Coach Jimmy, and I get to be your MC, your concierge for the next few days. I'm so excited that you're here. This is going to be a powerful 3 days. And I know that these virtual events can be the most impactful. I've had the opportunity to do events and MC and speak at events just like that for the last 3 years. And I truly have found that some of the most powerful events with some of the most incredible results come from events right like this. And one of the reasons I know that is exactly what I was able to do when I walked out here. The fact that I can see your faces, that I can see Linda Metz fixing her hair. I can see John Hornbeck in that killer hat. Dude, I need a fedora like that's all I'm missing in this outfit, man. I need to have the full Sinatra. I need that fedora. So, thanks. Yeah. If you can just ship that here by day 2, I'd appreciate that. Is it Vicky Penn? Hi, how are you? Tara Hawkins? Pamela Malloy? And so think about this for a second, right? If you go to an event, so I literally have been blessed to be on stages for the past 11 weeks. And we were talking about this off stage right when we were starting today. In the past 11 weeks, I've been on a lot of physical stages, which is great. It's awesome to step out on a stage and have a bunch of people in a room. But here's where the blessing comes through with events like this, is if I step onto a stage with 1,000, 2,000 people, and Brian Miller happens to be sitting somewhere in the middle or towards the end. I see you, Brian. What's up, man? I don't get to connect with Brian Miller. Now, Brian Miller and I are immediately friends right now. I'm already on his Christmas card list because I just said his name. And I don't get that opportunity on a regular event. So think about this. We're going to co-create this thing together for the next 3 days in a way that potentially a regular live audience, if we were on the same room, you don't have the opportunity for us to interact, for us to get to know each other over the next 3 days. One of the most common questions I get all the time is, Jimmy, do you prefer doing keynote talks or do you prefer emceeing events? And I really think I've learned that I love emceeing events like this because why? Because you and I get to spend the next 3 days together. I get to know you very well. You're going to get to know a little bit about me and my story. And I always feel like as the MC, I'm the audience on stage. I'm along this journey with you. I'm going to be off stage taking notes, talking to Chandler and the entire team. I'm here to learn as well. I've been in business now. This past week, I celebrated 16 years since I started my first business. But I know I always continue to be a student, right? And so off on the side, I'm going to kind of be your human highlighter. We're going to learn alongside each other. I'm going to talk about what my takeaways are, and I want to hopefully hear from you what your takeaways are as well. So let's set a couple ways we can make the most out of this. So if you want to get the most out of this event, in the chat, say, I'm all in. I just want to see I'm all in because I want to know who's really serious about getting the most out of the next. Hey, somebody said, I remember him from Beachbody. Hey, that's absolutely right. 16 years ago. That was my first business. That's awesome. Nice to see you as well. All in. Fiona, Brandy, Darlene, Michael. Okay, cool. We've established that we're all in here. So here's a few little rules. Like I said, I've been emceeing and speaking at events like this for the last 3, going on 4 years. And so I need you to be a little vulnerable with me. Right now, I want you to look at your computer screen or whatever device you're watching this on. And I want you to look at the top of your browser. And if you're brave enough, in the chat, tell me how many tabs you have at the top of your browser. And I'm going to brace for anxiety. How many tabs? Okay, 0. Well, you at least have to have 1, Mickey. 18, Melinda. Okay. 16, Heather. Karen says 0 because she's on her phone. 15, 20, dozens. Catherine, I appreciate your honesty. Way too many, says Pete. 80? Wait, who? 80 plus? Okay. We're going to make a little pact, you and I. This is what I know that I know that I know. Is that we may not be in a physical room together, But you're going to get the most out of this event when you treat this as if we were in a physical room together. So think about that. If we were in a physical room together and you've invested time and money to learn from the best of the best, from Chandler and the entire team and the lineup of powerful speakers that we have over the next 3 days, and you sat down in the second row or the third row or the fourth row, and you popped open your laptop, or you popped open your phone, and you're distracted. You're trying to answer email, and you're checking scores from like the NBA Finals game last night, and you're messaging other people. How much do you think you would get out of that live event? Not a whole lot. So what I'm going to challenge you to do, all of you with all of these brilliant tabs, Catherine with your 25 tabs open, let's make a pact. We're going to make this what I like to call a one-tab event. Are you willing to trust me for a little bit? And there's all these little X's up there to just start shutting tabs down. Because think about this, right? A one-tab event, let's put all of our energy and all of our focus here for the next few days. So one-tab event, here's another thing that I know, right? In helping people in emceeing events and talking to people that have built businesses at home, entrepreneurs a lot like you, most of you look like you're at home today. Sometimes we as business owners or we as entrepreneurs, we know why we're investing this time, right? We understand what the end game is. This is where I see a lot of mistakes, is we don't tell the people around us how, by playing up, by making this a one-tab event, by being fully focused for the next 3 days, how is that also going to benefit the other people in your world right now? So for some of you, that is, maybe it's the spouse that's actually in the house right now with you. Maybe it's the kiddos, right? For others of you, maybe you have a team and you're at an office, right? And they're wanting to pull on you and have you check in on things. And right now they just think that they're going to have the same access to you as they normally would. If you haven't already, when we get to a break a little bit later, after Chandler comes in and gives us an awesome opening talk, this is what I'd love for you to do, is I want you to paint the vision for the other people that are going to be impacted by you focusing here to them. Why is the next 3 days you playing all out, you being super focused, how is that benefiting them? How can you sit down with your partner or your spouse and say, sweetheart, give me these 3 days to totally go in, to not just learn, but to execute on these things, to get my message out into the world, because if we do, better when we do, this is the lives I can impact. And when I impact these lives, this is what our world's going to look like. Make the people around you part of this process. And by just asking for, I love you, I'm so thankful for your support, I'm so thankful that you're here supporting me in this. If we can just set a little boundaries, I'll come out during the breaks, I'll give you a big hug, give you a big kiss, high five the kids, go outside or whatever. But if we can do that, you're going to get the most out of this. And you're also painting the picture for them, whether it's family members or your business team, and just letting them know, hey, this is to benefit all of us. Can we do that as well? Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Yes. Daniel says yes. Got a thumbs up from Melinda. Perfect. So we're going to be at a one-tab event. We've explained to our family what we're doing in our team, right? And everything else we're going to play full out. Right? So number one, that means turn on your cameras. And so many of you have done this so well. I'm looking at so many wonderful faces. Hi, Ian. Is it Worrell? Hi, Ian. Good to see you. Thumbs up, man. I see Ian. I see Jen Turner in Georgia with a snowflake. Is it snowing in Georgia? That's not even possible, is it? I mean, there's a lot of wacky things going on, climate-wise right now. Kim Vickers. Hi. Hi, Lyle Allison. Anita Hawkins. I like that top, the blue, that's sharp. And you did your curls and everything with the hair today, looking sharp. Talk about showing up powerfully, right? You're look, I'm ready to go. Daniel Hennessy. Golly, so cool to see all of you so much. Okay, so we're going to play full out. So cameras are on. And that's not only just for you, right? That's for everybody else as we can see each other at times, is playing up for the person next to you. That's also in the chat, and you guys have already established that you're ready to go in the chat as well. That's what I love. Now, the chat is a bonus. It's an amazing tool. Let's not let it be a distraction, right? I think the best use of the chat is to encourage each other, Maybe if there's a point or something that really resonates with you, man, quote it up, stick it in the chat. Oh my gosh, like I've seen that a lot in quotes. Somebody says something just brilliant and you want to say, oh, that really resonated with me. What the chat's not used for is, don't get bogged down in side conversations, because again, we're focusing here. It's definitely not for self-promotion or solicitation. Sadly, if that happens, we'll have to remove you from the chat as well. So let's make this an opportunity, and the exact same thing I want to be for you, the human highlighter, right? Can we make this a little bit of a highlighter thing as well? Also, stay connected in the Facebook group. So we have the Authors Advantage Live Facebook group. And swag. Who has swag? We got emoji, we got paddles. I see Deidre Edwards has all three. Nathaniel. Okay. Violet, Penny, Robin. Awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, I said we're going to co-create this thing together. If you really want to support the speakers here, you really want to help them, utilize those. Because as we're sitting here in this gorgeous studio in Charleston, South Carolina, that's the one thing we as speakers don't get that we would get in a live audience, right? We don't hear the gasp or the initial applause. But what we can see is when something really resonates with you, you hold up those paddles. You show us some love in here as well, and that helps us continue to deliver for you as well. If you didn't get your swag, check out the resources section. I do get paid to speak for a living. Resources section of your dashboard, and have your cameras on as well. Speaking of your dashboard, hey team, we did, look, they're already on. We have the dashboard here, we have the dashboard here, right? So you see your dashboard, this is home base. This is home base for you as well. So much is going on here. PDFs, the help desk, support, resources. So you're gonna wanna plug into this. Now, little extra bonus is we've created some Easter eggs in here. There's things to be found. So go play around on your dashboard because you can get hidden points. And we are keeping a leaderboard. There is a bit of a competition. Who are my competitive people in here? If you're a competitive person, just wave at me a little bit. Like I always know there's those alpha, oh my gosh, that's a lot of you. Connie's like me. Connie's like, I'm gonna wave the biggest because I'm the most competitive. That's awesome. So go play around in your dashboard and find the little hidden Easter eggs, find the hidden points, because you will be able to win prizes. Now, the help desk, they are not allowed. You can't bribe them. They're not allowed to give you hints. This is on you to go figure out as well. But you can, some of the prizes are branded Yetis and books and journals and so many other things. So I think that we are set up for an amazing day. Do you think we're set up for an amazing day? Who's ready? Say, I'm ready in the chat one more time. The other thing I know, yay, prizes. Brandy, who doesn't love prizes? Doris is ready. This is what I know as well. As an MC, my job is to be bright, be brief, and be gone. Because you did not come here to hang out with me all day. You came here to hang out with our first speaker. He's the CEO of selfpublishing.com. He's a Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree. He's the author of 7 best-selling books, including his most recent book titled Published. Selfpublishing.com is an Inc. 5000 company the last 4 years in a row, as one of the 5,000 fastest growing private companies in the US. He's the host of 7 Figure Principles podcast and the Self-Publishing podcast as well. Through his books, through his YouTube channels, he has helped thousands. Help me welcome to the stage, Mr. Chandler Bolt.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. What's happening, y'all? How we doing? What's up, Author Advantage Live? Great to have you here. Great to have you here. Everyone stand up for just a second. Let's go. I see you, Connie, in room 3. Come on now, Catherine, in room 2. All right, who's excited? Who's excited? All right, so a couple things as we get started. We're going to dive straight in, but one thing, Sean Sumner, good to see you. Brett Hilker in room 2. So throughout this event, if you can, stand throughout the different sections of the event. So I have a stand-up desk at home, and so I'm kind of up, down all day while I'm working. I would love for you to do the same with me throughout this event. So you're welcome to stand for the first session. You certainly don't have to. Whatever you're able to do and whatever you want to do, that should help keep the energy up and help you get the most out of this event. All right, so let's dive straight in. All right, in this first session, we're going to talk about how books are just the beginning. All right? Books are just the beginning. Now, if we haven't got the chance to meet yet, my name is Chandler Bolt. I'm the founder of Self Publishing School and now selfpublishing.com. I'm Forbes 30 Under 30 because of the work that we've done and really because of the work that my team's done and you guys have done with selfpublishing.com. That's why I got on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. I've written 7 books myself. We've been on the Inc. 5000, is one of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. and definitely one of the fastest growing publishing companies in the U.S. And we've helped about 7,000 people publish books, or 7,000 books to be published over the last few years. We just passed 50 million in sales over that 8 years. So I know a lot about books and I know a lot about business, and my goal is to blend the two of those throughout this event through some of my sessions that I'll be speaking, but you guys get to hear me talk all the time if you're in our selfpublishing.com community. So we've got some amazing authors and speakers that are going to be speaking throughout these next few days. All right, so what I want to talk about in session number 1 is really 3 things. All right, so we're going to start number 1 with why we're here and why books matter. All right, then we're going to talk about number 2, some changes in the publishing industry, right? And then number 3, we're going to talk about what makes Author Advantage Live a success for you and a success for everyone here. All right, so let's dive in with the first piece, which is why are we here and why books matter. All right, now a few years ago, I went on a rewards cruise with a company that I worked for. And they sent all the top performers at the end of the year. They sent us on a cruise. And I remember we just had an incredible time on this cruise. And on the very last night, I was climbed up to the tallest part of the ship with 4 of my best friends. And we're just talking, we're just dreaming about, the next year and kind of what's happening. And so we climbed up, and you can see kind of here, it's that very top part. Whoops. The very top part there. And I remember I'm talking to a friend and I heard something. And I heard something and I looked to the left and I realized that what I heard was that little sonar thing that you can see there. It started to spin kind of out of nowhere. And I remember seeing the sonar start to spin, and I looked to my left, and right when I looked to my left, that sonar spun around and it hit my friend Kendall in the chest and swept him over the railing. All right. Now I remember thinking, hey, this is going to be one of those things where, he fell and he'll hop up, maybe have a broken arm or something, but he'll be fine. And so I look down and kind of duck out of the way, and the thing swings back around. I look down and I see that he's not moving. All right. And so I kind of scaled down the mass of this ship, and I got down there, and I was the first to get down there. Right. And I remember rolling him over. And the paramedics come in, CPR, they start doing all this stuff. They bring him down to the bottom of the ship. And I remember they rushed the ship into port, and then they rushed him off of the ship to the hospital, right? And a little while later, we found out that Kendall passed away on the way to the hospital. Now, Kendall was an incredible friend. He was an incredible leader. He was an incredible person doing big things, right? And he had done so much. He'd done so much. And the night before that he passed away, we talked about his goals for the next year, his next year goals, his 5-year goals, his plan, right? And I remember just thinking like, man, he's never going to get to accomplish any of those things. Right? And if you ever have like kind of one of those moments where your world just gets rocked, and if you've experienced anything like this, where it's just like a really traumatic event, it's like you can viscerally remember every part of the day. Right? And I just remember trying to change my flight and going home and just that whole week, and find out my grandma had passed away that same weekend, and just like this whole week. And I remember the next week after Kendall's funeral, talking with his dad, Kendall's just got an incredible family. And I remember talking to his dad after the funeral and kind of explaining what happened, because I was one of the only people that was there. And at the end of all that, he said, Chandler, Kendall was my only son. He was a family name. He said, I'm old. I can't have more kids. The family name died with Kendall. He said, the only good that can come out of this is if other people's lives are positively impacted by the fact that this happened. Right? And it just hit me. Just this feeling of like, okay, I'm living for 2 now. I've got big goals and big things that I want to accomplish. But now I'm living to accomplish my goals, and I'm living to accomplish Kendall's goals, right? Those goals that he told me about that he's never going to get to accomplish. And it was just this clarifying moment where I realized that I was chasing all the wrong things in life, right? Money, women, fame, all these things. And I'm like, all right, none of that matters. What matters, and I kind of took inventory of my life, is what matters is the handful of things that I'm doing in my life that are actually making the world a better place, right? And I started helping people with books, and I'm like, all right, well, family, my friends, my faith, and this work that I'm doing with what has ultimately become selfpublishing.com, this is what's making the world a better place, right? And sometimes it takes a moment like this where you realize, like, I'm going to turn my pain into my purpose. Right? I'm going to turn my pain into my purpose. And so I just remember I got these bracelets made, and because this was a token where I never wanted to forget how I felt in that moment. I didn't want this to be this thing where, hey, it's a fleeting event, and then years from now I don't even remember it, right? I wanted this to be a daily reminder. This bracelet, on one side it says "Make him proud," on the other side it says WWKD. So what would Kendall do? Right? And that's just a reminder for me, because he's just such a selfless and incredible person, incredible leader. It's like, when I run into difficult situations in my life, hey, what would Kendall do? And how do I make sure that I'm making him proud every single day after this event, right? And next, I was at a massage like 2 days ago because I was just so freaking stressed, like leading up to this event. And I realized that was like the first time I'd taken this bracelet off probably in years, right? Because it's just a daily reminder to make him proud. And so what I realized and what I found out is that actually after Kendall passed away, I found out that he had attended one of my random trainings in webinars, and he had actually written and published a book, or not published it yet, but he had written it. Right? And so with the help of some of his friends and one of the key people that's on my staff to this day, we were able to publish Kendall's book. Right? And that was when I realized what I now wholeheartedly believe in, and that's that books change lives. Right? We talk about this all the time. Right? Who here believes that books change lives? Books change the lives of readers. How many of you have had your life changed by reading a book? All right, if your hand's not up, you should probably read more. So books change the lives of readers, but they also change the lives of authors. We always say it's not about the book, it's about who you become in the process of writing and publishing that book. Right? There's all these life skills and all these things that you learn. So books change lives. I also, and kind of this is another core tenet of what we do and what we believe in at selfpublishing.com, is in leveraged impact. Right? If you want to go from one-to-one to one-to-many, or if you want to make it so that, hey, long after you're off this earth, you've still got something here that's making an impact, bringing leverage to your impact, right? A book is the best way to do it. Now, we kind of break it down like this, right? So every book that's published, we say, hey, you've probably got about 200 friends and family. These are people in your life who see you do this thing, this crazy goal of writing and publishing a book. Right? The New York Times says that 81% of people want to write a book. We know that less than 1% of people do it. So they see you do this, right? They see you, Marcus. They see you, Boyd. They see you, Stuart. Right? They see you do that, and they say, hey, if Dr. Kathleen can do that, what can I do? Right? If Cynthia can do that, what can I do? If Sandra can do that, what can I do? Right? And so you inspire them to, it might not be to write a book, but to do something or to take on a goal that's meaningful to them. Right? So that's that friends and family bucket. Then you've probably got, let's say, at least 1,000 readers. All right? The average self-published book sells less than 100 copies. That sucks. We're trying to change that. And hopefully we can help you sell a whole lot more than 100 copies of your book. But let's say you've got those 1,000 readers, right? And then the final piece is you've got one person whose life is forever changed by your book, right? They might be a reader, they might be a family member. So that's leveraged impact, right? Now, there's this ripple effect that happens as well, which how many of you have published a book and then someone you know has published a book because they saw you do it, right? We've got a handful, a bunch of folks. Mickey, love it. Yep, Karen, love it. Awesome. So this is this ripple effect that happens, right? So you see here, this is Sean Sumner, I think hanging out in room 2. Many of you know Sean. He runs our mastermind community. And so his daughter saw him write a book, and she said, hey, Dad, that looks fun. I want to do that. And she did it. So she wrote a kid's book. It's called The Fairies of Waterfall Island. And it's just been so incredible seeing her life changed through this book. So I saw at least one person in the chat before I walked on said, hey, my 5-year-old's working on a book, so it's going to be hard to get him to stay away from the session. When Jimmy was like, hey, put on that do not disturb sign, keep your kids away, like focus on the event. And so that's the only exception is if they're working on a book. Anybody else got kids working on a book? Yeah, at least a few. Connie, love it. All right, so that's the ripple effect that happens when and maybe it's not your kids, but maybe it's someone else, right? Maybe you've brought someone into this community because they saw you write and publish your book and they said, hey, I want to do that, right? So that's the ripple effect that can happen when you inspire others to write and publish a book. So really, this is kind of the 2 core tenets of why we're here, why I'm here, I hope why you're here as well, is that books change lives and we believe in leveraged impact. Now, our big mission as a company, it's a crazy goal, but our goal is to publish 100,000 books by 2035. So we got a little over a decade to do it. And in doing so, we will impact a minimum of 120 million lives, right? Many of you have contributed to this total already, and many of you hope to over the next year, right? And some of you have written like 5-10 books, and so you're running up the score. All right, so we published, again, thousands of books. So we got a long way. We've made a lot of progress. We're publishing about 2 to 3 books a day right now, sometimes 4 to 5, but we got a long way to go. All right, so that's the mission. That's where we're headed. All right, now the second piece, what I want to talk about is changes in the publishing industry. All right, now I'll first kind of pause here. How many of you are inspired by that mission and with us on that mission to help more people publish books? All right, hit 100,000 books by 2035. Love it. Tony, Kevin, good to have you here. Awesome. All right, so that's the ripple effect. That's the mission. Now, the second piece, I want to talk about changes in the publishing industries and ways we're innovating. We've got some really exciting things that I want to share with you that I think you're going to be excited about. All right, so let's first talk about changes in the publishing industry. Now, there's a lot of trends and there's a lot of things changing. Too many things to put on one slide, but there's a few kind of big ones that I want to highlight here. All right, the first one, and this is really in all of our favor, is that self-publishing continues to grow in adoption and in popularity. All right, self-publishing, it used to be the backup plan. It was like the thing that you only did if you couldn't get a publishing deal. Well, now it's the preferred option for most authors because people are now realizing what everyone here already knows, right? That self-publishing for most people is a better path. Right, you're going to learn later today from Mr. Hal Elrod, one of the most successful self-published authors of all time. He's sold millions of copies of his book, The Miracle Morning, right? And so he's a prime example of what's possible. Right, so self-publishing continues to grow. Secondly, audiobook sales continue to grow as well. Now, it's been really inspiring seeing this community kind of embrace that over the last year. We got a lot more people publishing audiobooks. I think for a long time, this is like, if you're familiar with Blue Ocean Strategy, Red Ocean Strategy, Red Ocean, there's a lot of competition, there's blood in the water. Blue Ocean, then this is prime for opportunity. So I think audiobooks are that blue ocean kind of world for a lot of authors. Some people will only publish a Kindle book. Some people will maybe go Kindle and print or ebook and print. But a lot of people don't publish an audiobook. There's a lot of people that never read, right? Sadly, but they would listen to your book. Right, so if you don't have an audiobook, you're missing out on those sales. This continues to be a great source of income and of royalties because there's really great royalties there. We'll talk about that more throughout these next few days. But audiobooks continue to rise. All right. Thirdly, we're seeing some big publishers consolidate and hybrid publishers emerge. All right, so there's kind of a lot of hybrid or vanity presses that continue to pop up. And it's, the big 6 have become the big 5, have become the big 4, and you see a lot of publishers kind of buying each other up, and even Stephen King going into court and protesting and kind of testifying, saying, hey, we need to keep this from happening because as we know, when those big publishers continue to consolidate, well, there's less competition, and that's not great for authors, right? At least that's one way to look at it. So that's the third thing. Now, the fourth thing is that AI is here to stay. AI has exploded on the scene. I've been behind the scenes and a minority equity shareholder in an AI company for years now, so I've kind of seen the rise, and obviously with the launch of ChatGPT, Midjourney, other tools, like it's here. All right, and I know a lot of people might be wondering, like, hey, how is this going to affect authors? Is this going to make authors obsolete? This is a question I'm getting asked all the time. I believe that it won't. It is an empowering tool if we choose to embrace it and if we choose to use it. All right, now we're seeing some really interesting use cases with AI on a lot of different fronts. I've got a cool tool that I'm going to share with you here in just a second. But whether it's writing book descriptions, whether it's social media posts, whether it's coming up with ideas or content generation. I was talking with a woman last night. We had the in-person reception for the folks who are in person here with us. And so I was talking last night, and she said, I just saved 10 grand in editing costs by doing editing with Pro Writing Aid and with ChatGPT, right? So there's just whether it's proofreading, whether it's copy editing, like there's so much opportunity here. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So let's embrace it and let's use it how you see best fit. And we'll talk about some use cases and stuff like that. And we're building some cool tools that'll help with this. But that's that piece. All right. And then the last piece is kind of the big update. Shout out to the in-person crew. I don't know if, yeah, awesome. Let's go. All right. So we've got some. So last publishing trend. All right, so Amazon unrolled the hard copies over the last year. This is a new opportunity for authors. So this, for a lot of people, the only way that you could get a hard copy is if you went on Ingram. Now that capability is inside KDP or the Kindle Direct Publishing portal. So you only really need to go to Ingram if you have a complicated book or maybe a kid's book or something with color pages or stuff like that. So that's opened up a big opportunity for self-published authors. It's just a new avenue, right? You can do the math and see whether it makes sense to. Obviously, those are going to be a lot more expensive. You're going to have to price those higher to make money on the hard copies, but it's an opportunity. And then the second piece, Ingram just removed their setup fees. Okay, so for those of you who are launching books with Ingram, it's awesome. For a lot of you who are in this community, it has little to no effect to you. We've got, as you know, if you're a customer or an author working with us, like in one of our core programs, you've got access to all sorts of bonuses and discounts inside your membership portal. And so we've got exclusive discounts only for our audience, right? So whether it's Kindlepreneur or whether it's Publisher Rocket, whether it's Pro Writing Aid, whether it's Ingram, all those things. So for a long time, we've had codes that would help you waive it. It was kind of annoying because they would refresh them like every month, and we would constantly have to be getting new codes and send them out to people. But now you don't have to use. There's no codes. There's no fees. So that made that more accessible for Ingram authors as well. So those are the publishing trends, and then I want to highlight a few author trends. All right, so a few author trends. So the big one, and this is really not so much the last year, but that it just continues to build over the last few years, is that you can't rely on Amazon alone to sell books anymore, right? You need to build an author brand, and you need to build an email list. Now, this has been, like I said, been the case for the last year, 2 years, and some change, but this continues to grow in importance. And it used to be kind of the Kindle Gold Rush days where you could just put a book up there and hey, it sells. But now you've got to do a lot more and build out an author brand. Competition is going up inside the Amazon marketplace. And so you need to be, fingers on the pulse of what's happening. Obviously, that's the purpose of this event. Secondly, book tours have become virtual book tours. A lot of this happened back in COVID, but as people realize, hey, these are way more effective. I don't got to travel all over the place. And so there's still a lot of merit to book signings. And I know we got folks that are doing, Barnes & Noble book signings, all that stuff. I think that's awesome. I think that's a great way to move books and engage with your local community. But as far as like the big wide-scale book tours, virtual book tours, podcast interviews, Facebook Lives, Instagram Live, all that stuff, right? Now, the third piece, ads continue to work. Okay, so we were kind of on the early adopter list of Amazon ads, of BookBub ads, and you're going to learn some of that on a session. I think it's later today with Mr. Nate Hambrick. But ads continue to work, but they're a lot more competitive. Okay, so just like with any platform, over time, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's TikTok ads, there's new platform that gets launched. It's kind of it's a blue ocean, right? So if you're an early adopter, you're going to be able to do really well with those ads. But as more people come in and spend money, the bids get bid up, and it becomes more competitive, and your cost to acquire a customer goes up, right? So ads continue to work, but they're a lot more competitive. And then the last one is the 1 week launch has turned into the 1 year launch. All right, and this is just really so important. You're going to hear multiple speakers talk about this, but that 1 year launch, right? Not just focusing on launch week. All right. Now, I want to celebrate the success of our community here for a second. This is pretty wild. Give it up for yourself. Give a hand for yourself. So we've had, over the last year, 431 rough drafts finished. Incredible. This is just that we can track. We know that there's probably a lot more than this, but this is those of you who have self-reported to us that you got your rough draft done. And then secondly, you guys have published over 405 books. First-time books. This does not even counting all the people who have published multiple books over the last year, but over 405 books have been published, and you can do the math on how many lives have been changed through that. This is incredible. You guys are amazing, and this is, again, just that we can track. We know that this number is probably way higher than this. All right, so great job. Let's keep getting rough drafts done. Let's keep getting books published. I see we've got Marissa says, finally finished my rough draft. Donna says, mine is coming. And so if you're an author with us and you haven't let us, if you finish your rough draft and you haven't let us know, log into your course and fill out the form. Let us know that you finished the rough draft. We've got some exciting, I'm going to tease this here in just a second, that I think you're going to like when it comes to getting your rough draft done. All right, now next up, let's talk about some 2023 improvements and progress that we've made as a company to better serve our authors. Okay, so I'm going to run through a few things here, a lot of exciting updates. So number one, we've improved and simplified a lot of our courses. Okay, so our coaches have been in the trenches making things a lot better. Shout out to our coaches, and we're going to keep doing this, right? I think we've still got work to do here. We need to make things more simple, more intuitive. We need to make our UX better. Like, there's a lot of areas that we can improve and that we will improve, but we made a lot of improvement over the last year. All right. Secondly, we've hired some experienced business growth coaches, so even more experience on the business side of things. We have our roster of coaches is incredible, and we've got some really, really talented fiction coaches, children's book coaches, business building coaches, nonfiction coaches. I see Pat giving big applause on that one, and so shout out in our in-person room here. Obviously, we got Kirk and we got Andrew, a couple of our amazing coaches. All right, third thing, we brought back some in-person workshops for our accelerator authors. Okay, so this is one of my favorite things that we did last year in Austin, Texas. Let me know. Let's give a hand raise or maybe an emoji, or if you were in one of our in-person workshops last year. All right, Carol, I see you. Great to have you here. Teresa, I see you. DJ in person. I love that. All right, this is one of my favorite things that we did last year. We had an in-person event for our accelerator authors. It was incredible. It was high level and just so much learning, so much community. So we're going to keep these going. This was really, really awesome. And then in tandem with that, we created some new TEDx training. So how many of you want to get on a TEDx stage or speak at a TEDx event? Maybe that's a dream or a goal or a bucket list. I see lots of hands up. Well, great news. We've got brand new training inside our PR and Speaking for Authors program. So if you have access to that, just log into that. There's all new training that'll help you do that. All right, and we've got some resources that'll help you land a TEDx stage beyond that as well. All right, this last couple things, and this next to last one I'm super excited about, so we'll throw that back up on the screen, is we've tripled the size of our book production team, and then we doubled the size of that team again over the last 45 days. All right, let's bring that back up on the screen. So we tripled the size of our book production team. We brought everything in-house. So now it's in the beginning we were working with a lot of outsourcers, but almost every part of our book production team at this point is full-time team members that work with selfpublish.com exclusively. And then, like I said, doubled our team again. So this is, I'll shoot straight here. There's been a lot of growing pains over the last 18 months or so that we've been doing services. We have always traditionally been like an education company and a training company and a coaching company. And so there's been a lot of growing pains and just a lot of growth that's needed to happen to develop into a service company as well. We believe that this is the best way that we can serve you long term, and so it's worth the growing pains, but it's just been constant evolution and saying, all right, how can we improve our cover design, our formatting, all this stuff. So we're staffing up. We will continue to staff up. We've got plans to, right after this event, hire even more people on this book production team. I think we hired one person this week, maybe yesterday. So we're continuously building this team so that we can increase the quality of all the product that you get from us, so that we can decrease the turnaround time, so that we can get you your covers faster, so we can get you your formatting faster, all that stuff. So if you've had any delays or any frustrations in the process over the last 18 months, I apologize for that. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for having grace with us. It's getting better, and we're getting better daily. All right. Now, if you're we've got some authors in the queue right now working on cover design, working on formatting. If you're one of those folks, our production team is working during this event. Okay. So if we're waiting on you for feedback on a cover, if we're waiting on you for feedback on your formatting, for anything like that, get back in touch with the team. There's probably an email in your inbox. If not, reach out to the team. And we want to help make sure that you're making progress throughout the event and that we're moving the ball forward in addition to while you're learning. All right. So that's the goal over these next few days. So if you're in the queue. If you're not in the queue, just wait till after Author Advantage Live and hop in the queue. But then the last thing, and this is really exciting, all right, is we just rolled this out a couple weeks ago, and we'll pop this back up on the screen, is a book title generator. All right, how many of you have had a little bit of trouble coming up with a book title? Only everyone here? It's like 17 bajillion iterations, and you're trying to figure out what works best. Well, we just rolled out a book title generator. I want you to be one of the first people to see this. So go to this URL right now. All right, we're going to break the one tab rule, and we're going to go to 2 tabs for just 1 minute. All right? And so go to selfpublishing.com/generate. All right, selfpublishing.com/generate. You're going to see something that looks a little bit like this. Okay, you're going to be able to select. It's kind of going to unfold as you answer the questions. But go ahead and give this a try. All right, so you can select nonfiction or fiction. Do you have a book description already? And I just selected no for the purposes of this illustration so that then I can type in a few things about my book, press that generate button, and it's going to create some title options for you. All right, so give this a try right now, and let's see what the generator comes up with, and then post your title options or things that it came up with in the chat. All right, and one of the people on our team, Christian, was testing like the earliest version. We made it way better since then, but I think he put in some information. It was about using golf as a bridge to connection and forgiveness and deepening relationships and stuff like that. And the title it came up with was Fairways to Forgiveness. And then this whole subtitle that was incredible. I'm like, this is so good. So I can't guarantee that you'll have the same experience, but we've tested this up against any other tools out in the market like this, and it's really, really good. All right, I see Nicole says, wow, this is amazing. Love it. Lori says, I got my book title, and Kirk loves it. Tiffany says, does this help with subtitles? Yes, it will actually generate a subtitle for you. And you can see this right here. Right, this is kind of an example of the output of what this is going to look like. And this is somebody just posted this in here. So you got the title, you got the subtitle. And if you don't like it, just click the try again button. Right, and you can keep trying again, and it'll keep generating titles for you. Exciting? All right, so selfpublishing.com/generate. And if you're on the Self-Publishing School team, if you don't mind just copying and pasting that link into the chat so that people can click it and head on over to that page. All right, so a couple more exciting updates, and then we'll be in the home stretch here. All right, this year is actually the first. So if you missed it, over the last year, we've transitioned the company from Self-Publishing School to selfpublishing.com. All right, we feel like if we want to be the definitive place to go to if you're self-publishing, well, we've owned the domain for years and we've been building that site for years. So now the company is selfpublishing.com. Self-Publishing School will still continue to exist as a resource for authors, right? And we'll have some coaching specific things there and some content specific there. We're continuing to build out that site, but now as a company, we are selfpublishing.com. You've probably seen that in the transition, kind of the tail end of last year and into the beginning of this year. We're really excited about it. Now, in case you didn't know, as part of that selfpublishing.com family, we've got multiple different sites that are meant to help serve the different needs that you might have as an author or as a freelancer. All right, and we're staffing up our content team to just make better and better content for you. So obviously we've got Self-Publishing School, we've got selfpublishing.com, we've got therightlife.com, thebookdesigner.com, makealivingwriting.com, and the Freelance Writers Den, which is a thriving community of freelance writers, all right, who want to make money freelance writing. Now, on this topic, if you are a freelance writer and you want to do some writing for us, or if you want to, if you're interested in helping us build out our written content, reach out to the team, reach out to Omer on the team. We're going to be hiring more writers over the course of the next 90 days or so to help build out some of these sites. All right? Now, how many of you have listened to at least one episode of the Self-Publishing School podcast? All right. Now we've got one woman here who's listened to every single episode, which is pretty incredible. What I want you to do, if you haven't already, grab your phone or wherever you listen to podcasts, and I want you to search the Self-Publishing School podcast. All right, you can also just go to selfpublishing.com/podcast. Team, if you don't mind dropping that link in the chat. And Brandy says, oh my word, I love this generator. I might actually write a second book. Yeah, lots of love for the book title generator. Okay, so if you haven't already, go to Spotify, Amazon, if you listen to podcasts there, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Subscribe to the podcast and just comment in the chat, I'm subscribed, once you subscribe or if you subscribe. All right, so you can just go to this link on the screen, selfpublishing.com/podcasts, or just search it and subscribe to the podcast. This is kind of the bridge to what's coming, because we have new episodes every single Wednesday. All right, and so it's just powerful content, and it's kind of the inspiration of Author Advantage Live sprinkled throughout the year, every single week of the year. Every Wednesday we have a new episode. And we got a bunch of people who just subscribe to the podcast, and that's awesome. Leslie has been listening weekly since 2020. All right, now a few more exciting things of what's coming. All right, so we've got a lot of stuff in the product roadmap. This isn't going to happen overnight. But on the roadmap, we've got editing and proofreading. All right, it's not a matter of if, but when we'll be able to roll that out alongside audiobook services as well. We want to be great at what we're doing and get better at what we're already doing, and then roll out additional services that can help you so that you're not having to go searching everywhere on this stuff. All right, we're also going to be rolling out, and we've already been testing some podcast booking services. So getting you booked on podcasts and doing some of that for you. And so that's pretty exciting. We've got some advanced business growth training and advanced workshops that we're going to be rolling out over the course of the next year. Just this week, we had 2 more coaches get started, and we hired 2 more coaches. So we've got even more coaches to support our authors. And we've also hired book marketing and production specialists in the last week, and I think this week as well. And then we're building out a team of virtual assistants who can help you implement with your book. All right, how many of you would love a virtual assistant helping you work on your book and getting some stuff done, right? We're going to talk about kind of the value of your time, so we're building out that team as we speak. All right, and then this last piece, it's pretty exciting. If you didn't know this, we've got a fiction-only conference happening this fall. All right, so Rami and the fiction team are building out a conference this fall. Mark these dates on your calendar. All right, September 28th through the 30th. And if you didn't know this, you've actually got a free ticket included to that conference for buying a ticket to this conference. So you got 2 tickets for the price of 1. Give it up for that because we want to make sure that there's a special place where we can add value to our fiction authors. And there's going to be tickets for sale for sure, and this is going to be an awesome event. But if you got a ticket for this event, you got a ticket for that event, you're going to have to go through a claims process and all that, because we want to make sure we've got kind of an accurate head count and who's coming and all that stuff. But stay tuned. We've got details coming later in the year. Mark those dates on your calendar so that you can show up to the fiction event later this year if that's something that you're interested in. Sound good? All right. Double woohoo, says Brenda. Love it. Heather next to Children's Book Conference. Down the road. All right. So a couple final things. So we just rolled out something internally to the team, and this is going to be coming soon. So this is kind of one more thing in the what's coming bucket, is some selfpublishing.com swag. All right? And so if you check this out on the screen, we've got a bunch of different things. Now, as with anything that we do, this is V1. right? And so we're going to keep iterating and improving based on your feedback. But we would love to get some swag in your hands. So there's a couple things we're going to be doing. All right, so number one, if you're one of our VIP ticket holders for this event, you've got a $50 credit in swag to the swag store, and this includes our in-person folks. All right, so you got $50 in credit to the selfpublishing.com swag store. If you check your email in the next minute or two, you should get an email. You can create a password to log in there, and then you can pick what you want. And so this is pretty cool. And then coming soon, what we want to do is make this kind of fun. So when you maybe it's when you're finish your rough draft or when you publish the book or stuff like that, that'll unlock things in the swag store. All right, so it's going to be kind of a fun little thing, and we're going to keep, like I said, iterating and improving on this. So if you have any ideas for swag, send them our way. But for starters, this will just be available to our VIP ticket holders. If you want to upgrade to VIP, it's in the dashboard, so you can certainly upgrade, and then that'll apply to you as well. But we got a $50 credit with your name on it for all of our VIPs. All right, this last piece, and this is kind of how we're innovating to help you be more successful, and just being super transparent. This is our flywheel. All right, this is how we grow as a company. This is how we grow as a community towards that goal of 100,000 books published. All right, this starts with better results. All right, so investing in content, investing in coaches is the better that we can get at helping you have results with your book. That leads to raving fans, right? So someone where you just have an incredible experience. Which, by the way, every feedback survey that ever gets submitted, I lay eyes on it, and every single person on the team lays eyes on it. All right, and so we see this. When you're a raving fan, you're like, man, this is incredible. We share it on our meetings. We're excited about it, and so that's our goal, is to create raving fans. And then ultimately that leads to creating what we would call a blue chip author, right? A blue chip author is someone who sold over 10,000 copies of their book or generated over $100,000 for their business from their book, right? So some of you are blue chip authors and you didn't even know it, all right? And then in doing that, that attracts more partners and future authors into our community. When they see you guys have success, they say, hey, I want to partner with you. I think someone in one of the chats here just said, hey, I'd love to partner with you on children's book stuff, right? And so that encourages stuff like that, which lowers our cost to acquire a customer, right? Which helps us invest more to go find more authors. And then that helps us invest in increasing innovation. And then that leads to better results, right? That innovation bucket, whether that's new courses, new workshops, book title generator, all that stuff, right? So that's kind of how we're innovating and how we will continue to innovate into infinity and beyond. All right, so let's move into lesson number 3 here, is what makes Author Advantage Live a success for you and for everyone here. So I'll move through this quickly. Jimmy did an awesome job of just teeing all this stuff up. But this is kind of the acronym, the success acronym, the keys for success at Author Advantage Live. All right, so number 1, show up to every session. It's easy to show up to this first session. What I care more about is that you're showing up to the last session on Saturday, all right? Because that's where we're going to tie all this home. So don't just pop in for 1 or 2 sessions. If you got meetings, cancel them, take them off your calendar. Make sure that you show up to every single session. You understand why we're doing this. We're going to talk about this today. You commit to doing the work, all right? So we're going to have some breakouts and some work that you'll do throughout the event. You connect with others in the community. We already got lots of great connection happening inside the Facebook group and inside the Zoom chats, right? You engage in the community and in the sessions. You share what you're learning. So I would love for every single person here at the end of today to say, hey, here was my biggest takeaway. Post it inside the Facebook group. You can tag me in that, and I'd love to see those kind of at the end of each day, and then support others. All right, the ethos of what we believe in and what we're here for is it's very much a go-giver mentality. If you're familiar with that book, we're not a bunch of people who are just saying, hey, how can I take? But the question is always, how can I add value to the collective community, right? A rising tide lifts all boats, and we rise and fall together. And so this is not like self-promotion. This is not all this stuff in the chat or whatever. This is, hey, how can I support you? How can I help you? And how can we help each other? All right, so those are the keys for success for this event. Now, beyond that, what success looks like, my goal for every single person here, all right, is that number 1, you learn a lot and you leave inspired. All right, that this feels like kind of the wind at your sails, behind your sails over the course of the next few months and the next year. All right, secondly, I want you to make some new friends and meet one accountability buddy. All right, that's what we call it, an accountability buddy, an accountability buddy. All right, so I want you to meet one person that can help hold you accountable. You don't got to meet everyone, but one person that you can say, hey, I'm going to keep texting you after the event, and we're going to hold each other accountable. All right, and then thirdly, you're going to leave here with a 1-year plan that you can implement to sell more books and grow your business. All right, this is going to be the final session. We're going to create this plan. All right. And then lastly, my goal is that you're so blown away by this 3-day event that you decide to work with us in our accelerator program. We'll tell you more about that later. And you decide to come back to Author Advantage Live next year. All right, transparently, that's the goal. We want to knock your socks off over the next 3 days, so much so you say, hey, I would love to work with you guys over the next year. Let's implement, and then you come back next year. How many of you, I saw this poll in the community that someone made. How many of you, this is your second, third, fourth, or fifth Author Advantage Live? All right, we got lots of hands, lots of folks who have been here for multiple years. We're so glad that you're back. This is year number 5, and my hope is that it just keeps getting better and better and better. All right, now here's a few bonus tips to get the most out of the event. All right, I already mentioned the first one, post your takeaways each day in the group. Tag me with that. We've got the emoji sticks. Can you wave your emoji sticks if you've got them? All right, and I realize not everyone, if you purchased a ticket late or like a couple days ago, we definitely haven't had time. Yeah, I love that. We definitely haven't had time to get them to you yet, but you can print them off in the dashboard if you'd like, and hopefully they'll come soon. But so you got the emoji sticks, but then you also have the emojis in your dashboard. Now, I think everyone knows this, and I think Jimmy mentioned this, but when you click those in your dashboard, it shows up back here. All right? So let's try that real quick. If you've got your dashboard open, click those buttons in the dashboard, and that is an immediate feedback loop right here. All right, this is, in my opinion, the most fun part of the event. Is seeing these things going crazy back here. All right, so use those throughout the event. If you hear something that you like, if you see something that you like, use those emoji sticks or the buttons in your dashboard. And it's gonna be kind of like a little Easter egg hunt. There's gonna be some of these on slides too. So whenever you see them, let's wave your emoji stick on some of these slides, and that helps keep the engagement up. All right. Now, also, if you want to be featured as a success story, you can leave a testimonial for the event in the dashboard. All right. Our social team has just been creating some awesome video content. And so I think whereas maybe 4 years ago, if you recorded something, it would probably go into the ether and it would never get used or promoted or anything like that. This year, that's not going to be the case. So if you use that dashboard and just leave a testimonial, it should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We'll promote that and use that in video content. All right, and then the last piece, and this might be the most important piece, is to book a strategy zone session in your dashboard. All right, so we've got a bunch of folks who have already done this, scheduled a one-on-one session. So here's the breakdown on what this looks like. All right, and these spots are limited, so go ahead and head to your dashboard right now. So we've got a bunch of people on the team set aside to sit down with you for about 15 minutes and help you talk. We're going to talk about your goals for your book, your challenges with your book, kind of some next steps. All right, how many of you have done a strategy session at one of the Author Advantage Live events in the past? Right, a lot of people. Comment in the chat if it was helpful. All right, this is, for a lot of people, they'll say, hey, this is one of the most helpful parts of the whole event. It's just being able to sit down with someone and talk about their book and get one-on-one feedback. All right, so again, these spots will fill up quickly, but I need you to do 3 things right now. All right, well, I guess 1 or 2 things right now and then 1 thing later. So number 1, I want you to go into the dashboard, all right, and you should see a button that looks like this. All right, now the first 300 people that book a Strategy Zone session, you're actually going to get a copy of Amy Porterfield's new book. And I think we've already gotten 150 or 200 people that have already booked. So we got about 100 left. So first 100 people to book a strategy session, you'll get a free copy of Amy Porterfield's book. But click this red button, book a session. Again, these spots are extremely limited. We've got room for about half of the folks here. So please only book a session if you're committed to showing up and taking action on what you learn. All right, but if that's you, find a time, book a strategy session, and we can't wait to chat with you one-on-one throughout the event. All right, a few more things you have to look forward to over the course of these next few days. All right, so we've kind of designed this event in themes. So this is what you're going to learn. So the overarching goal is that we help you unlock the author advantage in your life and in your business. All right, we've got 3 days of action-oriented content around this. Day number 1 is going to be all about launching bigger with your book. Day number 2 is about selling more books and building the foundations to scale. And then day number 3 is growing or launching your business. All right, who's excited for these next 3 days? All right, so a couple more things and then we're going to wrap up here. So we believe at selfpublishing.com that the book is just the beginning. Right? It's a starting point. And I got asked a question from a friend a little while back, and he said, Chandler, do you think everyone should write a book? And it was the first time I'd been asked this question, and I said, absolutely not. I think there's some people who should definitely not write a book. And he said, well, let me challenge you on that. He said, have you ever wondered about, kind of your grandfather, your grandmother, your great-grandpa, like what their life was like, what did they learn? And I'm like, well, yeah, I've got a grandpa, his name's Amos Chandler, and everyone tells me how amazing he is. He died when I was 1 year old. I never got the chance to learn all the things that made him amazing in the eyes of everyone, right? And so I thought about that, and I said, you know what, actually, yes, and I've kind of where I've come to on this is I think that as a society, this should be a rite of passage, right? This is the thing, a lot of times when people retire, they have this crisis. It's just like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I've been working for so long, what do I do? Now, I believe that every single person should take a year or two and write a book about all the life lessons that they've learned thus far, right? And I think as a society, can you imagine having that book for your grandpa, for your grandma, all right? That'd be incredible because we only get taught about 20% of maybe what our parents taught us passed down from their parents, which is about 20 to 30% maybe of what got passed down from their parents, right? And so I've kind of come to this conclusion, and I've been trying to get my parents to write a book. They haven't done it yet. And I started to think, I'm like, well, I've only got one grandparent left, my grandma, and I don't think she's going to write a book. So how can I capture kind of the lessons that she's learned, right? And so I decided to hire someone to come to do a video story, right? And so I think it's about 12 grand, maybe even a little bit more, maybe close to 15 grand, and to come in person and to interview my parents and my grandma about kind of their life experience and their life story. Now, the first thing somebody said to me, and the thing that I said to myself is I was like, oh my gosh, $12,000 for a day. This is a day, right, of recording and producing a video. Like, that seems expensive, right? But then the second thought that I had is, hey, in the grand scheme of life, that $12,000 is not that much, right? And I'm going to have a priceless artifact for a long time, right? I will forever have these videos. Right? And so that's what I believe is kind of the parallel for everyone here working on with their books, is that when we look back, the time that we spent and the money that we spent on these books, it will be irrelevant because we have created a priceless artifact that lives long beyond us, right? And so I hired the camera crew. I took that step. You can see here on the left-hand side, that's my mom and dad doing the interview. And then this is us by my grandma. It's my mom, my dad, my brother, and his wife. And now we've got kind of these priceless videos, right, that we'll have forever, that we can share with the family, that we can share with kids, with grandkids. They'll always know the lessons from their grandparents and from their great-grandparents, right? And so I believe that's what we're all creating here with our books, all right? The book is just the beginning. The book is just the beginning. It's something that's going to exist long after we're off this earth, and that's why we're here. All right, and that's why we're bringing together this training over the next few days at Author Advantage Live. All right, so I'll close with a couple things. We've got a couple action items to take, and then we're going to do a breakout. All right, so the first thing is, if you haven't already, make sure that you book a Strategy Zone session. Okay, comment in the chat if you booked your Strategy Zone session. These sessions will fill up quickly. All right, I was waiting on a text from the team. But these sessions will fill up quickly. All right, we've got Hope books, Heather books, love it. All right, and because we got a bunch of people booking right now, there might be some glitches and stuff like that. So if you get an error message, just refresh, find a new time, and book a session. And I believe this will be one of the most powerful 15 minutes out of this whole entire conference for you. All right, so book your strategy session, and that leads me to this next piece here. All right, we're going to go into a breakout here in just a second. Now, I want you to first answer these two questions. Answer these two questions. All right, number one, what does success look like for you from this event? All right, what does success look like for you from this event? I want you to write that out. Let's put this on the screen. Second thing, what's one thing you're excited about beyond the took? That's supposed to say book. What's one thing you're excited about beyond the book? All right, so answer those two questions. What does success look like at this event? And what's one thing you're excited about beyond the book? All right, give me a thumbs up if you've answered those questions. Okay, not a lot of thumbs up, so we're going to give you just a little bit more time. Oh, man. All right, what does success look like at this event? And what's one thing you're excited about beyond the book? Love it. Kelly says, build something that outlasts me. Jessica says, success is having a plan or direction. Karen says, actionable insights plus expanding my community. Barbara says, TED Talk. Love it. Catherine says, strategies for booking podcast interviews. Awesome. So we're going to go to a breakout here in just a second. All right, to discuss. So goal is two things. So we're going to meet some new people and discuss your answers to those two questions. All right, so write them down if you haven't already. All right, and here in just a second, automatically, all right, it's going to happen where you're going to be sent into small groups. I think it's going to be about 4 to 5 people. All right, and there's going to be a countdown timer for about, let's go 8 minutes. All right, let's go 8 minutes. So we're going to have a countdown timer for about 8 minutes. And each person is going to get to answer the questions, both these questions. All right? Now, when you go into this group, longest hair, you're responsible for doing the timekeeping. So keeping us on time. If you got someone talking for a long time, politely nudge them to move to the next person. And then shortest hair, you go first. All right, so shortest hair, you go first. Longest hair, you're going to be our timekeeper. Everyone's going to get about 90 seconds to share. All right, hey, what does success look like for this event, and what's one thing that you're excited about beyond the book? All right, so you don't need to do anything. This is going to happen automatically. We're going to send you to the breakouts, and we're going to bring you back. All right, so 1.5 minutes per person. Longest hair is timekeeper. Shortest hair goes first. On your mark, get set, break out. All right, if you're seeing this right now, if you're seeing me right now, then that's because you're a part of our live stream. All right, so we just finished live streaming the first part of the Author Advantage Live event. Okay, so this was the kickoff keynote. We would love to join you. We're not going to be live streaming any more of this, the keynotes or the takeaways or any of that stuff, but we would love to have you join us over the next few days for Author Advantage Live. Okay, so if you haven't already, go to authoradvantagelive.com, grab a ticket to the event. All right, grab a ticket to the event. It's at authoradvantagelive.com. We've got incredible speakers. This is a 3-day virtual event. All right, so if you love this first session, you're going to love the rest of this event even more because we're going to get into some content on how to sell more books. We're going to get into some content on how to grow your business using a book. We've got incredible speakers like Hal Elrod. We've got incredible speakers like Russell Brunson, like Amy Porterfield, Michael Hyatt, and a bunch of our best team here at selfpublishing.com. So we'd love to see you these next 3 days. Go to authoradvantagelive.com. Grab a ticket. We'll see you on the inside at Author Advantage Live. See you soon.